party has never been dominant in the USA ever. I mean, Theodore Roosevelt couldn't even win third party, and he was arguably the most popular candidate in the Taft, Woodrow Wilson, and Theodore Roosevelt split ticket election. Uh, it's just ridiculous. It's a philosophical issue of what a nation believes in when you have this bad of crime. That starts at the educational level, that starts with the breakdown of family structure, that starts with the fact that a whole hell of a lot of people can't really make enough money to do well. And I think it largely comes down to because people want to. So why would you not fund the police to deal with that? Why would that have to now be the National Guard? Because
As I was saying, I don't think they're sending National Guards in just for simple crime. I think, like I said, from what I understand, I think they only did that because they were attacking federal buildings. That's why I think they did that.
so then as soon as they leave, does it go back to the same way it was before? Or are you just trying to walk in, intimidate everybody, say, now you behave, and then leave? You
Well, I
never
mean, if
fix the
they're
problems at the source.
yeah, I mean, but that's no different than like when Gavin Newsom sent the National Guard back in 2020 when he had the COVID mandates and the COVID
Yeah, but
measures.
nobody likes Gavin Newsom. I don't think
No,
there's a
no.
lot of people who like him.
But regardless if people like him or not, I'm saying it's no different than him doing that. Because people thought that was justified to send National Guard in
No, they didn't.
to keep everybody.
Most people didn't think that.
Some
Most
people,
people didn't think that.
some people did agree with Gavin Newsom when it came to the COVID measures. Some did agree with him. So when he sent the National Guard to make sure that everybody's not breaking curfew or breaking the mandates, he's no different than Trump.
I don't think
But the
he was
difference
that
is-
different. I think
but-
the
but-
problem is people are going to be like, no, it's okay. He did that because he's on my side. I'll
Some
condemn
people,
that
some people
equally.
believe that though. Some do believe that. They believe that Gavin Newsom's justified in things he does because he supports their side.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are on both sides who just basically like to fling bottles at each other and
Yeah,
point at each
yeah.
other. The whole problem is neither side addresses these things at a source. I haven't heard somebody talk about education reform for years.
I think people
the last
do.
thing was
I thi-
student loan forgiveness.
Right. I mean, I think people do talk about education reform. I said, it just the problem is that when we have an opinion that differs from others, one side gets shut down, and it's hard to have a conversation if nobody's willing to listen. That's why I'm out here to talk about this specific issue. 'Cause I want to see what people think about it. If they agree with the protest, and if so, what do they think no king means to them? So that's what I'm trying to understand. Hopefully, try to unite us to like be able to sit down and have this conversation.
I think the protests need to mirror the Gilded Age era protests more. It needs to be about something specific because I know it's about social policy. I know it's about social policy. It should be about better wages.
Yeah.
It should be about something very specific, and it should be economic. All social cohesion, in my opinion, flows from economic stability. I will go back to that over and over and over again. You see massive amounts of social cohesion in middle-class neighborhoods. So, for instance, Sacramento is the second most diverse city in the entire country.
Yeah.
The neighborhood of North and South Natomas, that's actually the most diverse neighborhood in the country. Lots of social cohesion there. It's living proof people can be in a diverse area, and if it has enough money to be middle class, it can be very cohesive. But then, if you go somewhere that has no money, horrible economic situation, okay, then it falls apart. Then everyone is basically attacking each other. And so instead of looking at a social issue as an isolated thing, everything stems from an economic issue, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somewhere like Youngstown, Ohio, or Buffalo, New York,
Hello,
is
guys.
just in shambles. Would there be that crime rate there
Well,
if it was prosperous?
let me ask you this: Do you agree with the protest? Do you agree with it?
Yeah, in concept, but I don't think they actually are believing in anything specific. It's not policy, it's anger.
Right.
And it's like you have to go for policy. It's difficult to get 7 million people aligned on one specific issue. So what you see is people giving speeches and saying specific things, but you see people who just don't really seem like they're going to put that into place. And I don't actually know specifically what they want.
Yeah.
You know,
What was
and
your name?
especially because they already backed down. Because in parts of Europe, they were doing a No Kings protest. They changed to No Tyrants because some of those places have constitutional monarchies. And I'm like thinking to myself, okay, so you already backtracked a little bit?
Yeah.
Because,
What's your name?
Archer.
Karcher?
Archer, like a bow and arrow.
Archer. Oh, that's a good name. I'm Julius. Yeah. Like I said, hopefully I'll be able to talk to people and then we'll see what people think and maybe they might share your opinion. We'll see. Good talking to you, man. Take care. Hello. How you doing? What do you think about the sign? Do you agree with the protests? Do you...
Okay, I gotta go.
Oh, no worries. No worries. All right, so for those of you guys who are watching, we are back out here at Sac City talking to students and asking them about the No Kings protests that happened over the weekend. I'm curious to know what people think. What do they think No King means to them? And hopefully we'll get some conversations going. So if you guys are watching, do like the video and share this out. I appreciate that. What's up, ladies? How you guys doing? What do you guys think about the sign? You guys see that No Kings protest that happened over the weekend?
Not really. I haven't seen this.
Oh. Do you know what it's about, the No Kings protest?
Kinda. Is it about the president?
I mean, I think it is, but I don't know for sure. I'm trying to get people's thoughts on if they agree with it and what does it mean to them.
Yeah, I kinda don't know.
All right, if you don't know, then it's all good. Take care. Oh, so for those of you guys who are watching, I cannot see the comments because the phone's facing the other way. It makes it better for a live video, so you guys can, so it's a lot more clear. So I can't see comments at all. I have no idea what you guys are saying, so sorry about that. But do comment and like this video and share this out. I appreciate that. We have a table setting up across from me, so they might draw more of a crowd. Hopefully that crowd will come over here and talk to me. I'll be out here for like an hour and a half. How you doing, sir? What do you think about the sign? You didn't see about the protests over the weekend?
I heard about it, but I didn't know what it was for.
Oh, okay. What's up, ladies? What do you guys think? All right. What's up, ladies? How you guys doing? What do you guys think? The No Kings protest. You guys see that over the weekend? All right. Let's keep on walking. What's up, guys? Hello, how you doing? What do you think about this sign? Did you hear about the protest over the weekend? Do you agree with it?
Yeah.
You want to talk about it?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right, no worries. How you doing? What do you think?
So what?
What do you think? Did you hear about that protest over the weekend?
I saw it. I was driving by.
Do you know anything about it?
A little bit.
What do you know about it?
Actually, I don't know nothing about it.
No, nothing about it. That's no worries, man.
You,
Well, basically, from what I understand, people were protesting yesterday and previously throughout this year. No kings, I guess it was tied to Trump, and they're saying that they don't want, they feel Trump trying to be a king, this and that. And a lot of times when there are conservative people who go into these protests to talk to these people, not many people can give an answer on what that means. And so I'm out here to see if people agree with the protest, and if so, what does it mean to them, and try to see maybe we can find some common ground or understanding of what this means specifically. So,
it's interesting.
yeah, it is.
Yeah, I don't get into politics for that exact reason.
Well, yeah, that's fair. Most people don't get into politics, but do you vote?
I haven't yet.
Oh, okay. Are you going to vote?
For the upcoming election, yeah.
So then you are going to get involved in politics. Well, if you do decide to vote, just make sure you know what you're voting for. Look into it, look at both sides, and see which one aligns with your values. And that way, you can make the best decision possible. So,
All right, I'm at that.
yep. Take care, man. What's up, guys? How you guys doing? What do you guys think? No worries, no worries. It's all good. Hello. What's up, sir? How you doing? What's up, guys? How you guys doing? What's up, ladies? What do you guys think? Did you guys hear about the protests over the weekend? The No Kings protests?
Where at?
It was across the nation. They said it was like 7 million people that came out to protest. I would say by and large it was mostly like an anti-Trump protest. They're saying that I guess he thinks he's a king, he's doing things king-like, and so I'm trying to understand from people if they agree with that protest, what is it that they think is like, what does that term "no king" mean to them? So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Trying to maybe kind of understand, maybe find some common ground, maybe, or try to see what just people think. Trying to hear both sides. So, all right, take care, guys. How you doing, sir? You know anything about this? The No Kings protest? No worries. No worries. How you doing, ma'am? Do you know about the No Kings protest that happened over the weekend?
Yeah.
Do you agree with it? Do you wanna? You want?
Protest?
Yeah. Do you agree with the protest?
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about it?
I have to go study.
No worries. No worries. Take care. It's very difficult to get people to talk to me. uh.
I feel like I'll be less concise. I'll be more concise this time. I apologize.
No, it's all good, man.
Last time I was rambling.
No, it's all good. It's always good to see you.
Yeah, likewise, man. I admire your work and your commitment to what it is you feel like you should be doing. A
Yeah.
lot of people, especially at like an academic institution here, considering we're in California, which we have like this kind of reputation of liberalism, and when you think of the classical meaning of liberalism, it's just associated with freedom, and you would think that you would have the freedom of ideas, at least the freedom of discussion of ideas. But one thing I've come to realize, at least in current modern times, we're not very tolerant of other people being allowed to think or believe whatever they want to believe. And a lot of that, I think, has to do with like the belief that ideas or words can be harmful. And these are like false assumptions that I think people build ideological infrastructures on. And based off that false assumption, it's like having a house of cards, so to speak. But yeah, I think oftentimes when it comes to ideas and thoughts, because of these assumptions that they build upon, right, to make it seem like they have validity to. And I think personally it's kind of orchestrated, in my opinion. But to answer what does no king mean to me, I think transfer of power to a degree. The thing is now, like, sorry, it's going to sound a little esoteric, but, this concept of entropy, right? And I think you have to go to something like a base fundamental to understand where we're at today, right? This idea of entropy is that things come from a concept of complexity to simplicity. How you doing, man? When reality, things actually become more complex, right? You think of organisms, right? They say we started off as single-cell organisms, then we came into multi-cell organisms, then we developed organelles, and then now all that is we're the sum of those components, right? You think of society. Once upon a time, we were all spread out, and we were very divided, and you had small tribes, and then you had city-states, and now you have nations, right? And you think of today, economically, we have a global economy. Now that global economy has made it so we have less conflict for the most part, right, compared to 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 250 years, 10,000 years ago. But along with all that comes with complexity. So even now today, we have far more complexity in the systems that govern like our behavior and stuff. So maybe we might say like here in America, we don't have a monarchy, right, in the traditional sense. But, and rightfully so, most of this is coming from like conservative pundits or sources where it's easy to predict where their political leaning is. But if you look at, let's say, in the Senate, right, You have individuals on both sides that are well-established senators for an extended period of time. You've got people 30 plus years that have represented a certain voter base. Well, what tends to happen is that those individuals kind of begin to have what you might consider a monarchy or a monopoly on certain districts or certain legislative advantages. So, right now it's interesting because today what we have politically, you have the other side or the opposition putting forth the narrative against the current administration that this person's and fortunately and unfortunately, our current Pontius, right, just another word for president, kind of likes to agitate that kind of stuff, right? When, for the most part, he's kind of saying it tongue-in-cheek. We're just at a time right now, due to social media, everything has to be polarizing. I'm not saying you should take what he says lightly, but if you at least look at, empirically what's been going on, you have certain senators, Republican and Democrat, that have been sitting in the Senate, have been senators for 30, almost 40 years, and our current president is probably going to do 8 years and be gone, right? You know what I mean? So for me personally, no, kings just means that you have a transfer of power. And right now, power isn't as overt as it was in the 16th century, 1600s, with like Louis, whatever number you want to come with, or Caesar and stuff like that. Power tends to be influence, right? And so nothing's more influential than an established, let's say, person, a part of the legislative branch, who has a dictate, that has an influence on what laws are going to be enacted. Why is that? Because what we have today is we have certain individuals, and whether it be capitalists, entrepreneurs, that oftentimes want to have favorable advantages in an environment to do business, and they're going to lobby for people that are going to give them a legislative or some kind of advantage in terms of, I don't know if anyone, I'm sure people are business majors. You can understand that you need licensing. You could have certain things that can be enacted upon you in a certain geographical location that can make your business at a disadvantage. Well, what would you do? You would want to have someone that's writing the laws locally to be able to take away any negatives to your bottom line so you can be competitive in a market. So oftentimes, one of the primary reasons when you have, let's say in California, you have Nancy Pelosi. She's been a senator. She's been the majority House Speaker. She's been in a very prominent position for 3+ decades, right? Well, chances are she has relationships that she has proven to consistently show up for. So what could that mean? That can mean other bureaucrats like herself, other politicians, or other people in the local area in California that support her every time she needs to be reelected because she scratches their back, right? If you're looking for change, part of that, in my opinion, has to do with people who are shouldn't be allowed. Right now, you got people talking about term limits. At the end of the day, what it boils down to is, for whatever reason, old people are still competitive, right? There's no reason why someone should be in the Senate for 30+ years and someone 20 years their junior with as much vigor, as much passion, as much enthusiasm can't come out and provide something to the local region that would outcompete that person. It's just right now what you're starting to see is you're having more and more people are just distracted. There's a reason why drugs are legal. There's a reason why everyone watches spectator sport. There's a reason why video games are a thing. Why? Because guess what? That's not you reading a book, all right? That's not you knowing how to come together with the people around you and advocate for an idea. You're distracted, right? So I think today, one of the primary reasons why you really, for the most part, have these established bureaucrats or these people on the political in their seats for so long is because young people aren't out competing them. Why aren't young people out competing them? Because no one has been more distracted today ever in the history of humanity. Like, you're just not having it. So much competes for your time. And rightfully so, the difference between the people that are getting it and that aren't is how they choose to spend their time every day. So that might not be the answer that I think a lot of people want, but I think First off,
But you're tying this all into like what they feel about the no kings thing, right?
absolutely. I think it's important because I think it's one of the fundamental mechanisms why you see certain long-established people. Because once you start to get into it, I think even the situation that you're having with ISIS, you're having a certain silent majority that doesn't like the current state of things. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to mitigate competition. So everything that happens, whether it be socially, whether it be in an environment, is all competitive. The fact is, a lot of people major in liberal study, they don't take enough sciences, right? So you actually don't understand the environment that you're in, you don't understand the rules that govern said environment, and you don't understand the interaction. A lot of people don't understand what the economy is. A lot of people think that money's important, or even what's going on the budget's important. What's important is productivity, goods and services, right? What we do is money decides who has access to that goods and services. People in position of power want a lion's share of access and control of those goods and services. So what do? They create barriers of entry to prevent people competing with their lion's share access to those goods and services. So what you tend to happen is you have politician, he doesn't want to be a carpenter. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to be a truck driver. He wants to wear a nice suit, he or she, and then say some shit and have some influence and have their share of the means of production. So what do? They have to try to create barriers to protect their self-interest. So I think once you start to look at it and understand what it is we do here and how we do it, you begin to be able to understand when people are putting forth narratives that compromise your ability to have access to the means of, not necessarily the means, but the productivity of the culture, of the community, of our economy. So look, at the end of the day, if you don't want kings, you're going to have to outcompete them. Oftentimes, what you see leadership, because we're a collective, the person that's going to be in a position of leadership oftentimes is the most competent individual. That person's competency can be in direct conflict with whatever your interests are. You know, oftentimes, like, look at Julius Caesar, right? Wasn't a very ethical person, but he could manage how ruthless and how unforgiving, Rome was at that time, being a politician, having the backing of the military and things like that, and imposing that onto the people, right? But lo and behold, once you get to a certain point in power where you abuse your power and you no longer know how to manage everything as a whole, your time at the top will be compromised. I think when you look at what the current Pontiff is doing right now, there's a large demographic of individuals in our country that support what he's doing and bringing control back to their certain environments, right? If you actually look at what's going on in DC had horrible crime rate. If you talk to people that live there, they were actually quite thankful, because we have an understanding. As a person that was in the military, I did security forces.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Well,
thank you for your service, man.
I appreciate that. Sometimes, you feel like it's a little cringe when you tell people that, because oftentimes you're like looking for praise. I mean, we all serve our community in a different way. You're serving your community now, just getting people to think about what it is that they think. But what I'm getting at is oftentimes what's happening is a show of force, right? So what you can see is oftentimes that people, is why we have a surveillance state. No one is sitting there watching all the cameras. But if someone looks up and they see a camera, they're less likely to commit a criminal act, because they know they can be seen and someone can watch them. So all I'm getting at is trying to show that, a lot of people are saying that the current Pontiff is committing crime and he's committing martial law and all this other stuff. The thing is, these words are just like very galvanizing, right? So they're just using these words and hoping that you don't know how to think, and that you can't really tell what's actually being an imposed violence and a show of force, right? Really what's happening is this person is going places that a large silent majority actually want him to go. And unless you're in the military and you have an understanding of what military culture is, and that every state has a national guard, even the federal government does not have a monopoly on defense, right? Every state has a national guard, okay? So every individual state is no different than an individual company in the EU union, right? So what that means is oftentimes like you have pockets of spread out like sovereignty and control, right? So I'm only bringing that up to say, oh, okay, like the president of the United States, he's just taking control, and they have this monopoly on arms, and now he's going to go and impose martial law on the citizen, and that's just not true. He just doesn't. But you know, a lot of the rhetoric that a lot of politicians put forth, they're counting on that the people that vote them into office aren't really knowledgeable on what the United States political structure is as a dual sovereignty, what that even means, how that's enacted, and so they kind of just hope that you're inundated with working too much and all these responsibilities to have the mental and emotional bandwidth to be able to just go think for yourself, because if you did that, then you wouldn't need a politician to represent you. So personally, yeah.
What would you say to people who do believe he's a king? What would be your message to them?
Well, I would say, like, look, man, he lost in 2020. You know, I'm not saying that, and I didn't vote for him. And did he throw a tantrum? Absolutely. You know what I mean? But like I said, he lost in 2020. And currently, unless the the Constitution is amended, he's going to have a transfer of power in 2028, right? So I just think at that point, that's just not the definition of a monarchy. And like I said, a monarchy has sovereignty over the whole nation. We have a dual sovereignty, hence why every state has a governor. Every state has its own legislation. You know, they have their own vote, right? So you don't have that unless you, I don't know, maybe in Greece at that time, you know, Sparta had multiple kings. You don't see a lot of dual sovereignties like that. So you see confederations, right, in the European Union, but so I just think that like that just kind of debunks the fact that whether he's a king or not, because we do have a dual sovereignty, and you know there's 50 other governors. You know,
Say there was 7 million people that they said that was all out protesting. Didn't seem like many of them didn't know what to explain on, because there were some not all the millions, but there were conservatives who were out there trying to understand what that means to them.
Yeah.
And a lot of people either didn't want to answer or they couldn't give an answer. Kind of just seems like they were out there just because they hate Trump without really talking about what policy that they feel is, you know, king-like.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm out here, to see what people think about that, because 7 million people are out there that they said are protesting nationwide. You would think they would have the confidence to at least give one example of something that he did that was king-like.
Yeah.
And I'm not really seeing any answers.
I think a lot of people don't understand what the responsibility of the different branches of government. You know, you have the legislative branch, you have the judicial branch, and you have the executive branch. Donald Trump is the commander-in-chief of the executive branch. The executive branch, first off, is to see the defense and operation of the United States government. So really what that means is maintaining order and maintaining civility. As an individual that was in the military, our primary objective as security forces was protecting personnel and property. So if you have uncivility or uncivil acts being happen on the domestically, it's the commander-in-chief's duty and responsibility to protect personnel and property, right? So anytime you have defacement of property, right, that's actually a double negative economically. Sure, you're employing people, but it's not just employing people to repair something. You have the cost of operation, which is lost from the productivity of whatever that property, whatever it was used for, and then you have the material cost. all I'm getting at is to explain like why you see these kind of events right now where you have the National Guard being deployed into areas. The whole goal is they're going to areas that may potentially cause harm to personnel and property, right? And just under the mandate of being, the chief executive officer of the United States as the president, his job is to maintain order. So it's no different than if you have a CEO of a company, primarily what the CEO overlooks everything on top of where you have a chief operating officer. Well, you just think of that as the president, right? So I just don't see what he's done that has gone in conflict. Now, what a lot of people will argue is that boundaries. As you can see, what a lot of people don't pay attention to, they're looking at the national headlines. But you got to understand, a lot of court battles are going on, right, with the Supreme Court in certain states. And what you're seeing is a lot of it is being upheld, right? So you have people that have made it their life duty to understand the law and understand the law specifically in their state. And it hasn't, most of them, I would say over a majority obviously, has ruled in favor of Donald Trump going in, activating the National Guard, primarily because the objective is and like, mind you, trust me, if a troop was sitting there opening on fire on citizens, you would hear it. I haven't heard any of this. As an individual that was in the military, you're not sitting here hoping. The last thing you want to do is have to aim down range and fire on an American citizen, okay? And guess what? We just don't have to follow unlawful orders, okay? You're allowed to have the discretion to make a decision on what's lawful, and as long as you're able to defend that, right? So you're just not hearing this. But what you are seeing is when the National Guard is enacted, it goes to the area. What tends to happen by having a military presence, less violence and stuff is happening. What to your point that you were mentioning earlier about people protesting, unfortunately, this is going to sound a little off on a tangent, but stay with me. Like, human beings have an unimaginable capacity of being bored, right? So what that means is oftentimes people don't know what they're protesting for. They just ain't got shit else to do. And they just want to feel motivated to go do something, but they also don't want to do the work to actually find out if what they're doing is actually in alignment with what they believe, right? They've just been cajoled, which is just convinced.
I think some do, but it just depends. Like, for example, I think you had the is it SEIU or SIEU? I forget what that company is, but they were recruiting people to kind of more democratic side. They had signs that said like socialism is going to beat fascism and things like that. I mean, you had like, I guess, unions like that.
People pay for picketers. I mean, I've just seen it. A lot of unions do it. People that aren't even associated with the union, because people associate them when they have jobs. So you know what they do? They go find people that need employment and they have them go outside. Like, there's so much of what it is people do. There's a lot of people that don't have real jobs, all right? They're, back in the day, you used to call them bureaucrats, right? Really, they're administrators, and they're supposed to bring efficiencies. But for them to continue to not have to work with their hands or be out in the heat or actually have a technical skill, they've got to convince everyone else that they're necessary and needed, right? So how do they do that? They do shit behind the lines. Think about the little puppet master, okay? That doesn't necessarily mean you want to go see a puppet show, but they're puppet masters, so they got to go convince you to go watch their puppet show. All right, just bear with me, okay? And what I'm just trying to communicate is just like how you said there, I've just, if you work in the trades or you work in some kind of craft or field, and you've seen like the political jousting that happens between the labor force and the union, where the union will actually hire people that don't work for them to go out and protest against the labor that is protesting for better condition or better wages. This is just the theater that goes on. Well, that same kind of tactics is no different in politics, is no different than when they want to get a certain number, because you got to understand, there's our psychology psychology, right? Everything plays a role, whether it be economics, whether it be ecology, whether it be physics. Well, psychology plays one too, and you have herd mindset. So if they get everyone to believe that there was this big, huge turnout on this protest, and be like, oh, something important must have happened. Oh, I should care about that. Oh, I care about it now. When's the next time to demonstrate that I care about it? Well, because I got to work. I can't protest. Oh, but there's that next vote coming up, right? Like what's about to happen in Prop 50, right? You know, I took...
That seemed very convenient how there's this massive protest right around the corner from Prop 50. So especially with Gavin Newsom promoting it the way he did, which Prop 50 is a whole nother conversation within itself. But the point is that because it's coming up, now this protest, and I think that's the thing that people miss, is that they don't see how convenient it is. And so it almost looks like they're being played to go out and protest, but not even know what they're protesting. It just all comes down to I feel like.
Well, you would think that it being that obvious, that wouldn't be the case. But the fact is that they're not trying to collect the self-aware individuals, because unfortunately most people are too stressed, they're too busy to think that way. A lot of people just want to outsource these kind of decisions that are kind of on the peripheral of your life to someone else that so-called they trust or they can identify with. No different than last year. I didn't hear shit about no reparations, but in the last 6 weeks, Gavin Newsom been talking about reparations. Why? In California, because we have a big African American voting demographic, and a lot of them. And look,
I was gonna say, sorry to cut you off. I was gonna say it's funny because it's in my phone somewhere, but I was reading an article. I think it was either from USA Today or USA News, and I was reading this last year, and they were talking about reparations. We have the Black Caucus here in California, right? Some of them are assembly members, I think, and so the assembly members that were coming together and talking about this, from what I understand, how I read the article, it almost seemed like they were making excuses to not give reparations. Because I think if they did that, then there's nothing else they can use to get people to
no more. Like, hey, we already gave you reparations.
Right.
We know we can't give you a universal health care yet, so we got to keep that carrot dangle in front of you.
Exactly.
If we get you the carrot, now what are you going to chase?
Exactly.
And I think
that's sad to me, because I'm sorry again, just because it was fascinating to me.
Right.
Because I was reading it, because I figured who I was talking to, but I was reading it and I was like, okay, let me look into this reparations stuff. Let me just see, right? And as I read it, I was like, this is insane.
Yeah.
They're not really trying to do it. They're just saying like, oh yeah, we're gonna give it to you. We'll give it to you. Vote for us and things like that. And then it's like,
well, they're not
it's never gonna happen.
I'm not going to tell you this. Okay, a lot of people don't understand what capitalism is. Capitalism is the management of property. All right, that's all it is. The manage and the transaction of property. Right. If you don't know how to manage your own human capital, it does not matter how much money they give you. Okay, I think everyone are aware of people that win the lottery and go broke. Everyone is aware of athletes that have contributed so much time to a single specialty, right? Get tens of millions of dollars, and a few years after they retire, they're broke. Okay, it does not matter if they give you reparation if you never taught what it means to manage capital. Right? Guess what? You have human capital. Do you read a book? All right. Do you know how to solve a quadratic equation? Can you write an essay? Can you spell a word that's more than 5 syllables? That's your human capital. How did you manage it? How do you cultivate it? How do you transfer that? All right, do you take your human capital, manage it, cultivate it, and then lease it out to a firm, right? They make sure you don't know how to do any of this shit. So that, and like, when you understand what capital is, it doesn't matter how much money you have. What matters is, do I have more than you, therefore I have leverage in the market. They can give you as much fucking money as they want to give you, as long as their leverage power is greater than yours, then they can influence the market. But they don't want you to know this, because if you know this, then they don't have a leverage on you. So reparations doesn't matter if you get a little bit of money to all y'all. You aren't going to come together and know how to manage that capital into an asset properly. And so until people, and this is why they put barriers on certain education, and it's really not even, they put barriers on practices, right? They do a really good job of putting out encouraging shit that doesn't actually influences your ability to compete in the environment, okay? And that is it isn't necessarily by design. What it is to mitigate competition. All right, we all fucking do it. It's just they're just not a lot of people. So get all the reparation. The reason why they don't do reparations and they're not going to do it in California. California is already in debt. Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to tax the working class. You know what's happening in California? Californians are moving to states that don't have income tax. The minute they try to do some reparations here, everyone that's actually producing, like the middle class or the people that actually like create jobs, which you think of the hardware shop or the dry cleaner, or these businesses that have 10 to 20 workers, well, they're not going to be able to afford their business. So what do? They move out of the state. This is why we have a dual sovereignty. This is why we have a republic, because we actually force states to compete for actual people that produce to the provide or are productive to the community. So if you read a book, take a class, you begin to understand this stuff, and then you begin to understand what's actually theater and what's actually applicable. And guess what? That's just now money is actually fleeing the United States. This is why they just can't come here and tax the rich, because somebody in Singapore is going to take all the best talent we have here. If we just decide that we want to alienate some demographic of individual, and they'll just go move to another country. There's never been a time.
But it always sounds good when they run, though. It sounds good.
It does.
The slogan sounds good.
And does it ever happen?
Tax the rich.
It hasn't happened.
Meanwhile, they're getting rich.
Well, because the rich right now, they're rich for a reason. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of Nepo babies, and there's a lot of people that inherit money.
Like Gavin Newsom?
What? There you go, right? The only thing
That's the biggest Nepo baby you can.
Look, he's tall, he's good looking, and he's eloquent. Guess what that is? That's his human equity and him being able to apply it, right? And then do things for us.
What do you think?
You can take my seat. I've been talking for a while. You should come sit down. And
I like JD. He's always cool.
You should come sit down. No, listen. It's
so
that's up to you. I'm gonna go.
Hey, JD, always good talking
Well,
to you.
10 minutes to read the essay.
So real quick. So I'm just asking people about the No Kings protest. Yeah, go ahead. Thanks, JD. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, JB.
So I'm asking people about the No Kings protest. I'm asking if they agree with the protest, and if they agree with it, then what does No Kings mean to them? So do you know about the No Kings protest?
I'm a little bit familiar, to be honest. I choose not to look at certain things nowadays. Not because I don't want to be educated on it, I just don't have the capacity, emotionally, to deal with the back and forth stuff. But I think protesting is always good as long as it doesn't escalate into anything more violent. That being said, sometimes the violence brings the attention that we kind of need.
So you're okay with violence?
Talk about it. Not necessarily. I think peaceful protests are a lot better. We tend to react more than we respond. And I
But
think that's
if
the
you
problem.
make that claim that sometimes violence is necessary, then you would be in favor of January 6th.
See, that's where we get more political, and that's why I didn't want to sit in the chair. It's like I have no problem with people being political. That's just not the person that I am,
But I mean,
and I don't
but-
have the knowledge of it. Word, to be honest. I wouldn't say that violence is necessary in any sense. I think because we're humans and we tend to react more intensely with emotions, violence is the first thing that we always go to.
So do you agree that, so with the No King protest, how much do you know of it?
I know that they're protesting essentially in regards to keep a sense of democracy. I think Trump wants to be like a king and have control over everything, when really when you're in a place of position like that, you're meant to serve the people and not have the people serve you.
And so what is something that Trump is trying to be king of? You say he's trying to be king, he wants to have control over everything. What exactly, specifically, is he trying to have control over?
I think it's a lot of just rights all across the board. I think if you're paying attention to him at all, you can see that he's just a control freak, and he wants to be able to determine everything for everybody, whether it's directly affecting him or not.
Well, but what right specifically is he trying to control?
There's a lot of immigration problems, the disability thing with the children. I don't see why you need to move things around that don't need to be touched in the first place. You're just trying to...
Talking about Medicaid?
Essentially, yeah. Medicaid and Medi-Cal stuff is hard for people to have access to just as is, and then you're sitting there messing with it.
Did you read the bill?
No.
So, in the executive order, it was the one big beautiful bill. In that executive order, he was talking about cutting funding from those who are able-bodied, not anybody who's vulnerable. So if Trump were to be king-like,
Determine able-bodied. Sorry, not to cut you off.
yeah. Well, when people apply, you can tell who's out. Like, there's a bunch of people who are on EBT who can work.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
That's a whole other thing. That's just individuals abusing the thing
Right.
in general.
That's what
But I
Trump's
feel
trying to
like
do.
Cutting it as a whole, like, no one's
Well,
really...
not as a whole.
No one's really regulating that the way that he wants it to be regulated.
Well, not as a whole. It's just from those who are able-bodied, those who are actually vulnerable, that you can actually like tell, like maybe they're handicapped or, they're on Social Security, whatever the case may be. You can easily tell who's the vulnerable and who's not. If I was on EBT, I can obviously. I'm sitting here talking to you. I'm obviously able to do stuff. There's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's what it is. So I think people assume that he cut from everybody, when in the bill itself it just means those who are able-bodied, those who you clearly can tell can go out and work, versus those who are vulnerable. So a king wouldn't even allow some people to have it. He'll just say nobody can have it. So he wouldn't be a king in the
I
sense
think that's
if
eventually where he's going to get, though.
well, I mean, we
There's
can feel
not
that way.
necessarily like a lot of positive that he's doing in contrast to the negative. So I feel like we're just trying to make the exception of, oh, he's not all there yet. But what happens when he gets there?
But see, the thing is,
This
though,
is the preventative action that people are trying to take so that we don't get there.
but then
Because it's leading into that.
that will all be speculation, because
But all of it is technically speculation. We're all speculating and giving him the benefit of the doubt by giving him another opportunity to
well,
be
not-
in the House.
yeah, well, not really, because if the bill is out there and the bill explains clearly that only those who are able-bodied are the ones that's not going to benefit from the government, I think that's cut and dry.
Is it really cut and dry, though? I don't think so. I think there's always a loophole for the people, like in the higher, whatever. But
I mean, if it does play out like that, then yeah, people should definitely vocalize what they feel about it. But I don't see it being played out like that. I mean, look around you right now. Everybody seems fine. Like, you know what I mean?
yeah, you kind of have to pick and choose where you're gonna be.
You know.
Yeah, not everywhere is perfect. Not everywhere is terrible. You have to pick and choose where you're gonna be. So I just.
Real quick, you mentioned immigration. How, with immigration, do you think Trump is trying to be king-like?
What time is it? Sorry. I'm not trying to change the topic, but I did tell you 10 minutes and I gotta go to class. And this is where I don't really want to get back and forth with it because, like I said, overall, it's a human thing. There's an emotional thing to it. And I think when people do the political aspect and they're more on the right, I'm not sure where you identify, but I can assume based on our conversation. But
Or
then
I could
again,
just be
that's an
somebody who's
assumption.
informed.
That's also
Yeah.
true.
I
There you
could
go.
be
See,
very informed.
I'm very aware of assumptions, so I try not to make them on people.
Yeah.
Just off a surface level.
You know what they say about assume, right?
Yeah.
If you assume, you make an
It's
ass.
outside of you.
Yeah.
I know, brother. I know. I'm working on it. I think the only king that we have is God at the end of the day.
I agree with that. Hey, amen to that. Yeah,
Whatever
we
else
can
is
agree on
going
that. There you
Fuck
go.
whatever else
Christ is
going
king.
on, you know? As
Yeah,
long as you're seeking God, then it's good. But there's a lot of false seekers too.
that's true.
And I wish I had my notebook. There's a whole thing is that people that are put in places of power are put in those places of power to serve, like I said, the people and serve God. And I think a lot of the times there's a facade there. And once people do get to those positions, they kind of lose track of what they're supposed to do. And they think that they're the individual that's supposed to do everything. When really you're still supposed to be listening to what God wants you to do when you're in that place.
Yeah.
So I don't know Trump personally, thank God. But I think if he seeked it a little bit more, then I don't think he would be doing the things that he does to the negative extent that they go to.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, there's definitely
more prayer and more
yeah.
thought there.
There's definitely some nuance there. But
there's just
if you
a
have more
lack
time, I'd
of-
love to dive into. But I know you
Yeah,
got your essay to do. So
Yeah, I have class at 1, so I gotta come back around.
Hey, what's up,
But I never asked your name either.
Julius.
Julian.
Oh, Julius.
Fritzy.
Fritzy?
Fritzy.
Fritzy?
Fritzy.
Fritzy. Okay, Fritzy. I'm Julius.
Nice to meet you.
You can find my YouTube Today with Julius.
I'll follow you right now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I've been looking for you. I took a picture of you. I have it. I gotta send it to you.
All right. Well, take care. Hopefully you
Let
get your
me follow
essay
you right
done.
now.
Yeah. I'm on all over social media. Today with Julius
I'll
everywhere.
forget. Hold on. I'll follow you on my photography account.
Okay. For Instagram?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Julius. Yeah, if you ever need photos, I do photos.
Oh, okay. I'll have to hit you
It's
up
my
sometime.
thing. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you
know.
talking to me.
Do you have a podcast?
Not really. I mean, I guess you can call this a podcast.
That's why I sat
but-
down. I want to start a podcast.
Yeah, okay. That'd be cool.
So I was like, let me sit and talk.
I'll be the first to check it out.
I think there's a little bit of line, but
Yeah.
I'll make sure you're there.
All right.
Definitely check it out.
All right. I appreciate you. Yeah, you too.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Just keep doing what you're doing
Yeah.
in the most neutral.
No, it's
sense.
all good, man. I was just, kind of, doing a little street interviews, talking to people. So, how you been though?
Good, how you been? I ain't seen you in a minute, bro.
I know. I've been very busy.
I can't believe you.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Yeah.
Bro, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it. Oh, shit.
Yeah, no, so I was just talking to people about the No Kings protest, trying to understand like what it means to them and things like that. Before I was setting up, I was asking people about it, but it didn't seem like most people knew about it, which is kind of interesting to me.
They didn't know about the protest at all?
Yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah. I'm like, that was a big thing. I'm sure it was all over the news everywhere.
Right.
All over social media.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, how could they? But maybe some people just don't know. Maybe it's just some. Maybe I'm just talking to the minority that has know nothing about it. Yeah, take care. Have a good one.
It's in the digital world. People are stuck in, maybe people are just stuck in, in their own little bubble, isolated from real events.
That's true.
Yeah,
Sometimes they can be watching content that has nothing to do with politics.
True.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's what I was trying to ask people today, trying to see what's going on. I gotta check my phone to see if I'm even just still going. Yeah, still going.
I got some comments about No Kings. I got,
All right.
to hear what I gotta say.
I'm on 45%. Let me see. About 56 minutes. I can go for another half an hour.
Okay.
So, all right, that should be fine.
All
All right. So, what is your thoughts on the No Kings protest?
My thoughts on the No Kings protest is I feel like it needs to expand from just a left-right paradigm to really include potential presidencies in the future, because I feel like Donald Trump in this presidency has really kind of disrespected, just what he did in the first term as far as like what he's doing in the way. I feel like he's overreaching like his power of executive branch from ICE, because there's been like a lot of like overreach as far as using emergency powers, even though I don't agree what Biden did with the mass immigration, because I don't think any country can survive mass immigration, but I feel like the way Donald Trump is handling things is very totalitarian.
How so?
I think he's overreaching in the way where he's using emergency powers as far as like going into cities and stuff like that. I feel like in the future, other presidencies could use, like, it sets a precedent for like other presidencies to use the same excuse. It's a thin line between like, my bad, hold on. Wait. All right.
I guess if I could just ask you real quick, you mentioned that it's overreach and things like that, but he did run on mass deportations. Even though I personally don't think he has done it, but the thing is though is that if he's sending ICE in areas where people are, they're deporting all of the illegal immigrants, how would that be an overreach if he's going after those who have broken the law to get into this country?
Just it's been an overreach because it doesn't abide by like due process. There's been like a lot of people that's been shipped to, like, for example, like El Salvador, and then they would have to come back because they were actually Americans.
Are you talking about that one guy, that one specific dude, that Kilmar guy?
I forgot his name. But
Yeah.
there's been like that's just not the only case, but there's like other cases where there hasn't really been a due process, and that's in the Constitution, where we need these laws to establish like a free society. So like I think the way that he's doing it is very totalitarian in that way. And he's just kind of been disrespecting his base, like with the Epstein thing, with dang.
Well, let me just add in. As far as him sending people to other countries, from what I understand, there was just the one case where he sent the guy Kilmar Garcia, I think his name was. Garcia came here when he was a teenager. He was fleeing a gang, and then I guess because the tattoos on his hand, they assumed that he was a gang. But when he got here when he was a teen, he was protected by the Supreme Court to not be deported. And so when Trump had deported him, the courts challenged him, and then they had to bring him back. So if he was totalitarian, that wouldn't have happened at all. He would have just said nope and override the courts and not bring him back and kept him over there. But instead, because the courts challenged him and they realized that it was an error, they brought him back. So that's actually Trump listening to the laws and being the law and order versus just doing what he wants. So I don't see how that's totalitarian if he's actually following the law.
No, I get what you're saying, but it's more of like the rhetoric too. He's joked about being a dictator.
Yeah, but he had freedom of speech though.
No, I know, but I wouldn't want any president, whether it's Donald Trump or any future president, having this type of like jokingly matter. Like I feel like the rhetoric.
Let me just ask you. I don't think he has per se, but what did he say specifically that he joked around with being a dictator? Like what was the exact quote?
Well, he's joked around with having a like a third term.
Everybody wanted Obama to have a third term.
I wouldn't want him to have a third term either.
But what I'm saying is because it's just like, people like the guy so much that, it's kind of tongue in cheek. I think sometimes we, it's like my friend JD said, he says things, we shouldn't take it lightly, but at the same time, we all know that Trump can be tongue in cheek. So if he says like, a third term, he knows he can't do it, but he's just kind of talking about it. He's just saying that he's not going to make it happen. So him just saying it, I don't think we should take it that seriously. Now, if it did happen, then, whatever. I think if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if there has been, but I'm sure there's presidents in the past, people wanting to be a third term, president. So I don't think that's like a pressing issue. He's like, he said this, so we got the whole world have to burn and this and that. It's like that's just Trump being Trump.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but to me, I feel like just the behavior as a president, it's not just that. It's the going into cities without respecting like the independence of local governments between the states.
You mean when he said the military?
Yeah, he
like
sent
in
the
DC?
National Guard. Yeah, in DC.
Well, you realize that they sent the National Guard because, for one, the crime was just out of control. Yeah. Matter of fact, there were people in DC who actually appreciated the fact that he was there. I saw a video. I forget the woman's name. But she was showing the video how there was a woman who was actually okay with Trump doing that because it did help to reduce crime. If crime's out of control, then Trump's gonna, do what he can to reduce that as much as possible. And if there are people who voted to reduce crime, then what would be the problem with that?
Well, the problem is, it's just like there needs to be a separation of powers, like between like the states and government. It's not Trump's responsibility for the federal government to go into like local jurisdictions. I feel like that's violating laws. Randy,
But he didn't violate any laws, though. 'Cause if he did, that would have been national news that he violated the law, but he didn't.
what isn't it being contested? Like as far as going, aren't they fighting that in court right now? Like
I'm not
governors?
100% sure. I mean, you're always going to have the Democrats try to fight back against that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that he it was an overreach and things like that. It's just because Democrats just don't like him. And so they're going to fight him at every chance. So if anything, just one thing about right now, it seems like it's Democrats who are the ones trying to take that power over to allow lawlessness to happen, and Trump trying to say, hey, there are people who are living in these cities that don't want crime like this. So he's actually thinking about the American people who don't want crime, who don't want their folks to get hurt, who want to go home and be safe. And if that's what Trump is doing to keep America safe, and people are liking that, I don't think he's overstepping. Because if that's the case, everybody across the board would be on board with the fact that he is overstepping. But if there are people who agree with that and say, yeah, this is a good thing that we have now crime reduced because we have, the military here. It's not like they're shooting at their own American people. You know what I mean?
But it can lead to escalation. You don't think so? I don't know. I feel like it sets a dangerous precedent. I wouldn't want any president that be that arrogant to do that. Oh, plus he tried to implement like go against like free speech on college campuses. They can't say like anti-Israel things.
Yeah, now that I would agree with. I don't like that executive order that he did to combat against anti-Semitism. It's just an extension of what he put forth in 2019 to combat anti-Semitism. That I don't like. I think that's the only thing I can say that can be pushed a little bit further, where if we criticize Israel, then we can have consequences. That I don't agree with. So that's the one thing I can say across the board, that yeah, I'm not down with the fact that there's limited speech when it comes to Israel.
Yeah, as far as like the whole thing, like I'm just like trying to go off what I remember right now, but like I feel like he is just kind of being like trying to be a king or somewhat, and I don't care whether it's like him or Democrat. You know my stance. I'm libertarian. So I want like less government. So any like thing that breaches over like what that seems to be like freedom, I'm like against. So that's just like my point of view.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand that. Did you guys want to talk or?
I don't know anything about it.
About the No Kings protest? You guys
I don't really know anything about it.
You guys didn't see that NASA protest over the?
I seen about it, but I don't get what it means.
Oh, okay. That's fair. Yeah, so I totally understand that you don't want to have the overreach of the government. I don't think most people do. I think the issue is that when it comes to Trump and this No Kings protest, I think the problem is that a lot of people are protesting this and not really kind of talking about policy. They're not talking about propositions. It's just more so of like, I just don't like the guy, so that's why I'm out here.
And I'm no for 50. I don't want Democrats to have more power that they already have. I'm definitely I don't like that they're trying to push.
Yeah, when it comes to Prop 50, which is actually very convenient how the protest happens and Prop 50 is right around the corner.
Right.
From what I understand, it seems like if you vote yes, you're gerrymandering.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like it doesn't make it makes no sense to fight fire over fire
Right.
if everything burns.
Right.
So I would vote no because then it gives the government less power.
Right.
And I think because I think what they're doing is like Barack Obama on the commercials talking about Republicans are trying to steal the election.
Yeah.
So if you vote a no vote means the Republicans are stealing the election. I think that's very dishonest, especially from Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Everybody likes him, but he's being very dishonest to say the Republicans are trying to steal the election, when in reality, if you vote no, the power goes to the people. If you vote yes, the power goes to the government. And I think it's very dishonest that he makes that commercial. I mean, how can anybody buy that? So yeah, I'm going to vote no on 50 for sure, but I don't know. It's just pretty crazy. But yeah, was there anything else that you thought about the No King protest, or any like final thoughts?
Man, power to the people, man. That's what I'm about, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you, man. Yeah, good seeing you.
You too. Good seeing you too.
Take care, man.
All right, you too.
So, nothing about it at all? You guys don't know anything about it?
Oh, yeah, talk. Express your free speech, man. Come on, say whatever. Say whatever. Come on.
No, but to be fair though, what do you? No, it's all good. It's all good. Yeah. So from what I understand, with the No Kings protest, is that by and large it's an anti-Trump protest, and so so like they think that Trump is trying to be king, or he says that I guess they think he thinks he wants to be king. I'm trying to understand how, why, what examples, and quite frankly, I haven't really gotten any examples of what he's trying to do. At least I haven't heard any like solid arguments. And so that's what I'm trying to figure out is what does this mean? How is it happening? And where can we find common ground? So.
What do you think about it? Since no one's there.
I mean, I just think it was just one big feelings protest. Like it's just, I don't like Trump, so I'm not here to say egregious things about him because it's how I feel. No one, I mean, from all the videos I saw, no one's really talking about policy. No one's talking about anything like that. It's just, I don't like the orange Cheeto. It's just all name calling. And people can say what they want. It is what it is. But I don't really see how it's effective. Just go around and being like, I hate him because he's a loser.
Yeah. What about Trump being effectively like one of America's aristocracy?
How so?
He comes from a wealthy family, just like many of our presidents do, who have had a long.
You want to sit down and talk about this?
I'll sit down.
Yeah, we'll just talk for a bit. I'll do it for like 10 more minutes, and then I got to wrap it up. 'Cause my phone's going to die soon.
Okay.
It's at like 40%. I don't want it to go to like 20%.
I have
So.
less than anyways.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we'll talk for like 5 minutes. So, you think Trump is doing what now?
Well, Trump's family is he's generational wealth, and just like many of our politicians are, and his family less so than other political families that have been in America, like the Clintons and the Kennedys, has had generations of political influence, a lot in New York, and it resembles an American aristocracy. He's maybe not the king, but he's an aristocrat of America.
But just because he made money, like, so what?
I don't think that he should have political power.
Because he made money?
No, because he's allowed to profit off of his political power.
Well, the thing is, from what I remember, his first term, he actually gave up a lot of money to be president.
Yeah, he spent his campaign was primarily funded by donations himself and other interests, which sure, he spent his own money to get political power, but his political power has sold books and sold his cryptocurrencies. And
every politician does something to their favor. Barack Obama's done it, Biden's done it. I mean, all local politicians, they all do that. I mean, should they all not be in office? Should they all not run and we vote for them?
Yeah.
Not defending them. I'm just saying, like, it just seems like when we point one thing to Trump, it's like every other politician has done the exact same thing. Barack Obama's massively rich. The guy talks about climate change but lives next to water. I don't see how like Trump one has to be singled out for it.
Right. Yeah. Like the protest, the No King protest was targeted towards Trump, but the saying No King itself is not doesn't have Trump in its slogan. And I think
but most people
Obama, Biden, if Trump didn't win his first election, would have been Clinton, would have done the exact same thing. I think every president since for probably over 100 years now has done a lot to give them aristocratic, royal-like authority through their candidacy. Not just presidents either, governors, mayors, politicians all over have been using the influence of the state to support their lineages.
Sure. But do you think that there's anything that, like, I mean, when it comes to the no king stuff, since by and large it was mostly about Trump, has Trump done anything that's been king-like that you know of, like policy-wise?
I think since FDR, the executive branch has been very king-like. Yeah.
With Trump specifically?
With Trump having done nothing about it.
What
Trump's the current, president, so of course he's gonna have focus. But Trump has continued the precedent of having the executive branch be completely intertangled with the economy and with legislation.
And how has he done that?
Well, the bombings in Iran immediately goes around the legislative branch. Big Beautiful Bill is an economic focused move on his part, and also he has profited off of being president, and his children have as well.
You mentioned if I can just point to the Big Beautiful Bill, how was that ineffective to America?
Ineffective?
Like you said that the one big beautiful bill that was a problem for you. How was that a problem for America, in your opinion?
Because it's inflating several government agencies, which is a socialist move on his part. He is removing free markets and taking money from taxpayers to fund specific projects.
What projects specifically?
Well, for example, like in ICE, increasing the amount of employees and the budget of ICE is is what I just said.
What's ICE's job?
ICE's job? What's the acronym? What's ICE's acronym? It's
Immigration Customs Enforcement.
Isn't that ICE's job then?
Right, but I'm saying, according to you, what is their job according to you?
What is their job? I think that's fairly overt on what their job is. It's to enforce the immigration laws.
Right.
Yeah.
So if Trump is funding ICE to employ more people to help remove those who come into this country illegally, what's wrong with that?
Right. So I feel that in political discussion, there's a disconnect between results and the actual cause. Because you can go to FDR then and say, oh, well, a lot of his programs are credited with getting us out of the Great Depression. But it's creating this behemoth of a state that has power over its citizens. ICE within a certain area of the border is allowed to make arrests without
due process.
Yeah,
that's what people are saying. I don't know if I 100% agree on that with the due process thing. I know there's been some, as they call it.
Well, it's law. It's written down as.
Sure. I mean, I guess the 14th Amendment can apply to some, depending on how they got here. Like, for example, like the birthright citizenship. If a parent is here illegally but they have a child here in America, then the 14th Amendment can affect them, right? But I think primarily when it comes to ICE, their job is simply just to remove those who are here illegally. Now, a lot of people did say that Trump was going to target the most dangerous ones, right? And now they're saying that he's targeting people who just trying to make a better life for themselves. But at the same time, if those people did cross the border illegally, that still makes them a criminal by definition. So they're not only removing those who are dangerous, they're also removing those that did break the law. Because there are people that do cross over here illegally and don't take the time to try to become citizens, or they overstay their visas or things like that. So that's why they get in trouble. Because they're not going through the process to become a citizen. They're living here illegally. And when they do that, they end up getting government assistance. And that is at the cost of taxpayer money. Right. So we'll lose the money to give to those to break the law. I don't think we should reward that. I think that's why the funding to ICE is being pushed more.
But isn't ICE also taking our tax money to funnel it into handling illegal immigrants? It's the same thing.
Yeah, I think the thing is though, like if people vote for that, then they're voluntarily saying that, hey, I don't mind my taxes being going towards ICE because this is what I voted for.
That's only true if you get 100% agreement from a voter base. If
Right.
you get,
But people voted for Trump though, and Trump won. So
Okay.
because Trump won,
but for example, California, it was like 40% of Californian voters voted for Trump. That means that the other 50, 60 about percent of Californian voters are unwillingly paying their taxes to do this. They didn't vote for that.
yeah, and I could totally understand that. That's this is the funny thing about voting is that the people that didn't go out and vote because they didn't like Trump or they voted for Kamala, yeah, they did. Kamala did lose, and so now Trump is their president. I think if people are losing their tax dollars when it comes to ICE, I think they should be vocal about it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like if this is what majority of people voted for, it is what it is. Because then it's no different when, like, let's say Biden's in office, and then our money goes towards Biden's agenda. Those that didn't vote for him still have it happen, right?
I feel like it'd be one thing if this was a completely equal federal-wide vote for president, but California specifically did not vote for Trump, and
Actually, more people actually did vote for him this time around. There were more people that supported him.
Yeah, like I said, 40% of Californians did vote for Trump, but California as a whole is getting our tax money siphoned off, where states like West Virginia, which did vote for Trump, are paying significantly less federal tax, and they're getting more rewards.
Yeah. Do you also think that that might come down to like governmentship too, as far as like, or governorship, like Gavin Newsom, for example? From what I understand, Gavin Newsom raised the taxes when it comes to gas. So it's like Gavin Newsom is the.
Well, yeah, then he was bragging about surplus tax money not long later. So.
Right. I mean, he's not helping to lower taxes in California. He's raising it. So doesn't that also play a part in why our taxes are going to places that it shouldn't be? Because Gavin Newsom is not trying to lower it. He's not trying to help California. He's actually making it worse.
Well, yeah, and I'd say that Gavin Newsom is also should be put on the list of names for the No Kings protest.
Yeah. But no one protested Gavin Newsom. It was all about Trump.
Yeah, nobody knows about the scandalous things he's done, like having sex with his best friend's wife. So
He was the one who actually did grab him by the.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of turning a blind eye when it comes to politics, but I would say overall the No Kings protest is beneficial because I don't think any government agency should have authority over other government agencies, which includes federal agency dominance over state policy, and that the executive branch is ran by one person at a time, on state levels, on local levels, on federal level, and there's immediate profit from becoming a executive.
So then, how if you had the power, how would you fix that?
If I had which power? President?
Like if you were president, or if you were governor, like if you were mayor, how would you fix that problem?
I would probably shut down a lot of those agencies. I don't think that the IRS should have as many employees as it does. I don't think that the NSA should be able to do what it does. I don't think that the FBI or CIA need to have as much power as they do.
So then how would you enforce anything?
Enforce what?
Like
I'd simply have enough needed by constitutional mandate to enforce what the legislative branch says needs to be enforced.
Okay. And what happens if there's not enough resources to exhaust that? How would you fix that problem?
What do you mean enough resources to exhaust that?
Like let's say you hired who you hired, and then it just wasn't enough. How would you then fix that?
If it wasn't enough, I mean, so much of our taxes are being wasted right now. Mm-hmm. So I would imagine that clearing things up would actually make it easier to enforce things. It would streamline, the directions being given. It would, right now, we have ample money being flown through it, but the attention can only be so much. The president can only pay attention to so much that's going on. He can't pay attention to politics in every country, every state. There's a lot going on, and he has people to do that.
He's paying attention a lot to Israel. He's paying attention a lot to Israel and Ukraine.
I think because Israel's paying a lot of attention on his
wallet.
Trying to censor us?
Yeah, I don't know.
Trying to censor us?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I mean, so like, okay. So all in all, like, what would you say to people who don't think he's a king, who think he's doing a good job? What will be your message to those people?
To people who don't think he's a king,
Yeah, like, basically his voter base, like those who say that they think he's doing a good job, they may disagree with him on some things, but by and large, they agree with what he's doing. What would be your message to them if you're in? I would imagine you're in opposition, right? Kind of. So what would be your message to those who agree with what he's doing?
well, two things really is that one, if you're for Trump, what he's been doing, you have to acknowledge that you are politically a socialist because of these massive government agencies that are socialized. You also have to realize that you are heavily in the direction of statism, and which kind of goes hand in hand, but in our system, 4 years from now, it's pretty much a coin flip whether it's blue or red. So if you're for Trump, you're going to be just as much supporting the authority that you're giving Trump. Drop my phone. Supporting the authority that you're giving Trump as much as you would have supported. Imagine if Biden had this much authority, if Kamala had this much authority, Hillary Clinton. The majority of people who support Trump would hate to see the other side have this much power. And that's what you're doing. Just because the good guy that you feel is the good guy who is in charge right now, it doesn't mean that it's going to be the same 4, 8 years from now, 16 years from now. You know?
Yeah.
And the other thing I'd say is that a lot of his base is religious. And I think that if you go through the Bible, there's a lot of anti-state, anti-government, whether it's Rome crucifying Jesus, whether it's Babylon, whether it's, Egypt. There's a lot of anti-statism in the Bible, and a lot of his base is very religious, and they don't acknowledge that, and they also don't realize that the state that is Israel is not the same as the Israelites of thousands of years ago.
Yeah, I understand that. Well, I would, just on that part, I would actually agree with that. People think that we're supposed to bless Israel, but it's not the same Israel as the one in the Bible, from what I understand.
Not only is it, historically not the same Israel, it's an Israel that's brought up by the Rothschilds and...
Yeah, in 1948.
Yeah. I mean, England created them, so,
Yeah, it's the same thing with Zionism too. Some Christians believe that we're commanded to be Zionists. It's just not true. Zionism was a movement back in the 19th century. They think that the word Zion in the Bible means Zionist. It's just totally not true. So yeah, I totally understand what you're saying about that.
And the only way that you can believe that is if you haven't read the New Testament at all.
The Christians are the ones who are...
It's very clear that the church is the new Israel.
Exactly, yeah. And then some Jews believe in the Old Testament that they're the chosen people, even though they helped to kill Jesus. Yeah.
So these Christian politicians don't believe in the New Testament, and they're giving money to a state that doesn't believe in the New Testament, and they're taking that money from people who believe in the New Testament.
Well, that's why they try to say, like, Judeo-Christian values, when in reality Judaism doesn't actually believe that Jesus Christ is the Messiah. So Judeo-Christian is kind of an oxymoron. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying on that. But yeah,
it'd be the same if we gave Saudi Arabia just as much money because they believed in, Abraham.
Yeah. Okay. Any final thoughts at all?
What?
Any final thoughts at all? Any
final thoughts? I think it sucks that the side that is shouting no kings has, taken that stance, because it detracts from the actual, nature of being no king. They're just saying Trump's a king without actually criticizing the authority of the executive branch.
And maybe there's some out there that do think the way you do think. I just didn't see it. Most people that were asked that question didn't want to answer, or they didn't have an answer. They're just kind of more so like my feelings kind of thing.
I haven't watched anything other than the fact that it happened, so I wouldn't know. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. What's your name? Elijah Julius.
Nice to meet you.
Bible name. How ironic. Appreciate you talking to me, man. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up. All you guys who are watching out there, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to wrap this up. If you like this video, do hit the like button, share, and comment below what you guys think. Until then, I will see you guys next time. Hi.
Hi. So what is this? Do you want me to press low power mode?
Is it on low power mode?
You want me to put it on low power mode?
Yeah, if you want to. Is it still going?
Yeah, it's still going.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate?
Well, so I'm asking people what does no king mean to them. We had the massive protest over the weekend. About 7 million people were protesting no kings. By and large, it's more of an anti-Trump protest. And so I'm asking people, what does that mean to them? What does no kings mean to them, essentially? Did you want to sit down? I can sit down for like 5-10 minutes because my phone probably might die.
Okay.
So do you know about the protests that happened over the weekend?
No.
Okay, so real quick. People think that Trump is trying to be, because by and large, it was more of an anti-Trump protest. And so they think that Trump is trying to be king or doing things king-like. Would you agree with that? Or
I would say some of his mannerisms, yes, like for sure. He thinks he's definitely above the program. So.
But mannerisms is not the same as policy. So, like, what policy do you think he's enacted that he's trying to be king?
I just hear about a little bit of stuff. I'm not gonna act like I pay like that much attention and tune in to him because I don't tune into bullshit. So you feel me? Like I would say one specific situation would probably have to be the immigration situation, like with the Latino like Latin community, whatever you wanna call them, Mexicans, whatever you wanna call them. I feel like that is the biggest thing. Like, you feel me? Nobody deserves to be treated like that.
Like what, for example?
What do you mean? Like what?
You said nobody deserves to be treated like that. Treated like what?
Like scooped up, taken back from their families, from their lives that they built, that they actually built, like took time putting together and stuff like that. If they wanted to be where they came from, you don't think they would have been there?
So when it comes to immigration, we have laws and we have borders, just like.
And that's true. But come on now. Not like that. We've been working. How long we been going with this? You feel me? Like not like that. But how long we been going with this?
Every country across the world has borders, and so I can't just go into a country and then start working and doing things if I don't have proper documents.
If it's bad enough where you are, though, you will. That's the thing.
Well, but let's
if
just
enough where you are, though, you will. Because that's the same thing we used to do, right? In slavery, we used to run away and we used to hop across borders and do all type of shit, right? Yeah, because it was what?
But let's just assume that America was so bad that I fled the country to go to another country. I still have to have proper documentation to be a citizen of that nation. And that's
how Mexicans deserve to leave. I'm confused.
Well, don't worry about the comments. Everybody's gonna have their opinion. I'm not here to side with the comments. I'm here to have a.
Fuck y'all.
Yeah. So I'm here
fuck, I do not give a fuck.
Yeah, no, don't worry.
Yeah,
people
trust
talk
me.
about me sometimes too.
Trust me.
Hey, I talk funny, so I'm sure they make fun of me. But anyways, but what I was gonna say was that we have immigration laws. People do come across the border illegally, and so what Trump is doing, like with ICE, for example, he's sending ICE to grab those who are here illegally.
Yeah, I understand that, but I just feel like we're all human. There's a way to go about it. Like all the extra comments, like, oh, they're coming over here and they're killing our animals and they're eating them. Is that necessary?
I mean, yeah, Trump got that wrong, and we can.
But you know what I'm saying? Like all the slander, that's unnecessary. If you're gonna do it, like do it in a good fashion. Like, you feel me? Don't like dehumanize them. Like make them.
I agree 100%.
That's putting out hate. That's introducing more hate into the world, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your opinion?
My opinion on what specifically? It doesn't mean nothing to me. I don't think Trump's a king. I don't think he's trying to rule like one. You would have to show me policy or anything that he did with laws that passed. Like, his mannerism is one thing. We could tone police all we want. But what actual policy did he put in place that makes him a king?
Not too much on my dish, though.
Personally, I don't really like tune in with the news and stuff like that because, fear of what's going on. But I feel like the we only got one king, and that's the Lord.
I agree with that. Yeah, I think across the board we can realize that. But that's what I'm asking. I'm trying to figure out what exactly was the policy that Trump put in place that makes him a king. That's what I'm trying to figure out. So if I don't think Trump's king, it's not because like I'm pro Trump or anything. I just don't see it. So if I can get an example of something that he did, like a policy he enacted, I could totally listen to that and see maybe we could find some common ground on that. But his mannerism and things he says, sure, we could tone police all we want. But I'm trying to find like what actual solid proof that makes him king-like.
Trying to figure out why people say no king.
Right, he's not king. By saying no king implies that he is, but he's not. Because he was elected president. He didn't just step in and say I'm going to be president. And he lost the election in 2020. So if he was a king, he would have said no. And if he was the king, those 7 million people would not be able to protest. Because it would be illegal to do it.
What is the is there a vote, something like that coming again?
Yeah, there's a vote coming next month for propositions, and then next year we have the vote for the governorship and things like that.
Okay, what you saying on that?
What is the proposition?
Yeah.
The Prop 50 thing?
Yeah.
So Prop 50 essentially is like this. They're trying to do the whole redistricting with the maps and whatnot, so they can make it easier for voters. But the thing is, if you vote yes, you're gerrymandering, so you're giving power to the government. If you vote no, then power goes to the people. So the only reason why they're trying to tell you to vote yes, because they're trying to say if we expand these maps, it will help out those in like minority communities and things like that. But in reality, it just gives power to the government to change it whenever they want to. So it actually sets the precedence where they can draw the maps one way, and then if they stay in power 4 years later on, they can draw the maps however they want to. So it gives government the power, and it gives the people less power. So by voting no, it actually gives us the power to vote how we want things to be, and it keeps the maps exactly how it is with the consistency that it does every 10 years of who's in that area. That's all it is. So basically,
Can I see that real quick?
what's up?
Okay, Latina and Cali. Boom. First of all, if he looked like he lived with 8 cats, that's none of your business. Because guess what? He's out here doing shit that you're not doing. And if I sound like a man, guess what? Who the fuck told you I wasn't a man? Who the fuck told you I wasn't? While you sitting on the internet talking about shit you know nothing about, instead, you should be in here putting your opinion on here and not talk about other people. And go to church on Sunday, bitch. Come on.
Yeah. You guys take care. Thanks, guys. All right, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. My phone is at 10% and is going to die. So appreciate you all for being here. Again, if you guys enjoyed this video, do like this video, do comment below what you guys think, and also share this out. I will be back next time. God bless you all, and take care. Have a good one.